In The Good Life, Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz open with a simple yet profound idea: human beings want to be happy. For centuries, philosophers, artists, and scientists have explored what makes a good life, but few have had the rare opportunity to track it through real human lives over many decades. That's what makes this book extraordinary. Drawing from the Harvard study of adult development, which followed the lives of hundreds of individuals for over 85 years, the authors pieced together not just data, but deep human stories that paint a compelling portrait of how people flourish, or flounder, across time. The study began in 1938 with two distinct groups: Harvard sophomores and boys from impoverished Boston neighborhoods. Over the decades, researchers gathered interviews, questionnaires, health records, and later, brain scans, to build one of the most comprehensive life studies ever done. Waldinger, the current director, and Schulz, associate director, step beyond clinical findings to share personal, emotional, and often intimate portraits of the participants. These people navigated wars, relationships, addictions, failures, and triumphs, all while researchers watched and listened. One of the book's major revelations is that relationships are the single most consistent predictor of happiness and health. Time and again, the study revealed that those who maintained strong, supportive relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, were healthier, happier, and lived longer. It didn't matter how much money they made, how famous they became, or what their social status was. Emotional connection trumped all. A man could have a high-powered career and an impressive resume, but if he lacked warm relationships, his sense of fulfillment was often low, and his health declined more rapidly. Waldinger and Schulz emphasize that the quality, not quantity, of relationships matters most. Many participants had large social circles but felt isolated. Conversely, others with just a few close confidants reported deep contentment. This forces a re-evaluation of how modern society tends to reward independence and constant productivity over emotional investment. We're encouraged to maximize our output, but often at the cost of intimacy. The book challenges this norm, inviting readers to reconsider what they prioritize. The authors also take care to explore the nuances of relationship dynamics. They don't pretend that relationships are always easy or straightforward. Instead, they delve into the messiness of human connection. Conflict, disappointment, and even betrayal show up in the lives of the study's participants. However, those who cultivated resilience, communication, and forgiveness tended to bounce back stronger. The capacity to repair relationships, not just maintain them, emerged as a crucial trait among those who thrived. Another profound insight from the book is that happiness is not static. It's not something we find once and hold on to forever. Instead, it fluctuates and evolves as we do. The participants in the study experienced different kinds of happiness at different life stages. A young parent's joy looked different from an elderly widower's peace. But both could be equally deep and meaningful. This evolution is natural, and recognizing it can relieve the pressure to have it all at once. The book addresses how people often confuse external achievements with fulfillment. Participants who initially pursued wealth or prestige sometimes reported feelings of emptiness later in life. In contrast, those who shifted focus toward community, purpose, or caregiving roles often found more lasting joy. Waldinger and Schulz use these stories to ask us, what are we chasing, and is it truly satisfying? It's a confronting question in a culture driven by image and status. One moving chapter follows a man whose early life was marked by trauma and disconnection. For decades, he struggled to form trusting relationships, leading to a sense of persistent loneliness. But in his 60s, he joined a local theater group. There, he forged deep bonds with others, and his health improved markedly. This story illustrates that it's never too late to form meaningful connections. Human beings are remarkably adaptive, and change is always possible, especially when we open ourselves to others. The role of attention is another theme in the book. Waldinger and Schulz argue that what we focus on expands. When participants were intentional about nurturing relationships, whether through weekly dinners or simple check-ins, their emotional well-being grew. In contrast, when relationships were neglected, even passively, those bonds frayed. In today's world of digital distractions, the lesson is clear: we must consciously invest time and care into the people who matter. Importantly, the book doesn't reduce happiness to a single formula. Instead, it invites readers to reflect on their own lives, asking, what relationships am I nurturing? Where am I emotionally invested? Where might I need healing? These questions are posed not to induce guilt, but to create space for reflection and, ideally, redirection. The authors aren't offering a quick fix. They're offering a life practice. The book also touches on emotional intelligence as a crucial element of relationship health. Participants who were better at identifying and expressing emotions often formed more lasting and satisfying connections. Emotional literacy wasn't just a nice to have, it was essential. For readers, this insight underscores the value of developing communication skills, vulnerability, and self-awareness. Midlife transitions, aging, and loss are addressed with sensitivity and grace. The authors share stories of participants who grappled with retirement, bereavement, and physical decline. Yet, even in those chapters of life, many found joy through relationships, whether with grandchildren, caregivers, or old friends. Fulfillment didn't diminish with age, it merely changed shape. The book acknowledges that not all relationships are beneficial. Toxic or exploitative connections can be harmful to both mental and physical health. The study found that distancing oneself from harmful relationships, though difficult, often led to increased well-being. This reinforces that cultivating a good life isn't about keeping every connection, it's about investing in the ones that nourish you. Waldinger and Schulz also reflect on their own lives and vulnerabilities, which brings warmth and relatability to the narrative. They don't speak from a clinical pedestal. Instead, they weave their personal experiences and challenges into the broader findings, making the book feel like a conversation rather than a lecture. Ultimately, The Good Life is not a guidebook with strict rules. It's a mirror held up to the reader, asking you to look honestly at your own patterns, priorities, and connections. The stories and science blend seamlessly to encourage introspection, not perfection. The authors offer hope that no matter where you are in life, whether thriving or struggling, you can make choices that lead to greater meaning, belonging, and joy. In the end, the message is simple but not simplistic: a good life is built, moment by moment, through the people we choose to love, support, and be supported by. And it is never too late to begin.